Thank you. I thought I did. Okay. Thank you. See, that's what friends do, y'all. They stay having your back. Okay. So when I'm talking about this, often like I'll use examples in history. When the pandemic first started, I was in this interview where someone wanted to talk to me about so I own businesses also. That's the other thing I didn't mention. And when I was talking about myself. And so they were talking to me about how to pivot during the pandemic. And I was like, you have to have a plan B. And that was the first time I really felt like this dropped into my heart. The idea that all throughout history, we've had multiple booms. We had the gold rush, we had the oil boom, and those massive events are what play. There have been many other social issues. We already know that there are some systemic social and cultural effects that have caused disparity in finance. Okay, set that to the side for a moment. Then there were opportunities for a boom. And if you didn't believe, or you had an opinion, or maybe it was just too hard to even conceive of some of these opportunities, you missed out, right? And so, but the impact of not being able to hear and see opportunity when it came, I mean, it went on again for generations. So that helped establish this legacy in many families. You know what, let me be honest, I can't even claim that I come from struggle. I don't. I've been well provided for all my life, but I've always worked and pursued things as though I was broke, super broke. Because I don't know, it's just how I am. But the other thing that's always been present regardless is I don't want to see people not have things. I just don't. Like it makes me ache to know that there are other ways. And sometimes see people suffer. So the gold rush, I wanted to look up the population because this was important. So the gold rush took place from 1850 to 1860. There were just over 23 million people in the United States at that time. Only 300,000 of those people, there was literally just gold on the ground. Gold on the ground. To this day, just to put that in perspective, to this day, in regular traditional stock, the thing to invest in is gold. Like that is where people put their money when they want stability outside of like really volatile stocks like the cryptocurrency market. Anyway, so there was gold on the ground. People were howling about fool's gold. What are you doing? The terrain is too bad. This is dangerous and treacherous. And I'm sure many people died on the way, but the ones who made it became wealthy. They were literally just scooping gold up off the ground. What? So 300,000 people out of 23 million. Again, legacies are established. What is it? Fortune favors the brave, the ones who are willing to risk. And you're going to understand why I'm talking about risk taking, because cryptocurrency is really not for the faint of heart. I think for months, again, Nisa's name always comes up in everything. But just how many times I've said, I don't know, dog. It's real scary sometimes. You wake up one morning, you lost $6,000, but 2 days later, you got $14,000. Like this has happened to me. Losing $6,000 in one day is very, very terrifying. However, you just keep trucking. You can't take your money out then. You just need to hold what you got, because I'll talk about that in a minute. But anyway, so those 300,000 people took the risk and probably suffered. But how many of them made it, benefited, and their kids are even today still benefiting? Generations, what is that, 3 generations later? The next one, this one, everybody will know this person. So during the oil boom, there was a man named John D. Rockefeller. So somebody struck oil in Texas, and it was like 63 feet down. All of a sudden, all this oil came shooting out of the ground. There had been hints during different settlers have been, as they move across the nation, they were seeing like oil slicks and things. And there was one man who had patented kerosene, and there was a lot of, there were people who were understanding that there was oil, but this man wasn't even involved in oil. He was way over here, way up north. The oil boom started in Texas. That's where I am. Ventriel, see, look. Okay, sorry, I digress. But the oil boom started in Texas, and he heard about it. They didn't even, how did he hear about it? Whoever knows, but he had his ear to the street looking for opportunities. When you read about him, one of the ways he's described is as a person who had a knack for business and a knack for ideas. He didn't own none of that oil. What he did was created a company I wrote it down. It's called Standard Oil Company. And what he did was create a system where his company became the company that brokered oil. They're still doing that. Not that company. That company was ultimately shut down for being a monopoly, but it wasn't shut down until 1911. So they built wealth for years. He established his family literally to this day. They are, I mean, like obscenely wealthy. But it wasn't his oil. He just had the right to go and sell it. And he monopolized on that right. He would even create fake companies that he pretended were his competition to make it seem as though he was in a competitive market. So yes, he was eventually sanctioned, but by then it didn't matter. He ran off with all the bags, and it wasn't illegal. It was just, open. I guess the concept of this nation is, I say I guess because I know, but anyway, that it's a free market and we all have an opportunity. But again, we're going to close the gaps where it's harder to reach those opportunities. So I just wanted to share that with you guys, because we look at those families. Again, I can't say I come from struggle, but my parents aren't the Rockefellers. Like, I didn't come from that. So when we look at these people who are considered iconic families in our country, we look at them as like something untouchable, but what they have accomplished is not untouchable. We can all do the same things. And so the other thing though, is we don't always, these kinds of opportunities to make that kind of money don't come around for all the time. So that's the other thing. Like we certainly have had a tech boom. The internet is amazing. And there's, so many ways to monetize your life on the internet, and people are doing that. But that brings me to cryptocurrency. I wanted to say those things to try to, one, give you a reason, like to just understand my heart and why I think this is important, but also just, really put it into perspective. This is literally another boom. I don't know how many booms come around in your lifetime, but probably not very many, because these are things that shift the age. They shift the way you do a thing. This is shifting the way finance is done. So watch this. You heard that statistic about how women of color often are in a terribly small minority when it comes to having bank accounts. So you've probably heard the phrase unbanked in the news before, and you've probably heard the term fintech. So we use things, a lot of people, even business owners, use things like Cash App, Square, these things that are considered to be tools for the unbanked. And it's supposedly to level the playing field. But really what it is, yes, it does give the unbanked an opportunity to have bank accounts, but it certainly comes with fees. It still has, you still have limitations, because there's some things you just can't do. Like, for instance, I worked, so when the pandemic started, I was trying all kinds of stuff. So I got a contract at the Small Business Administration. Anyway, I learned that people can't even get their economic injury disbursement loans with those kinds of bank accounts. They automatically consider them risky, or dare I say, they consider them fraudulent. So yeah, they consider them fraudulent. So the things that are supposed to make things easier, actually, they have a stigma attached to them. So we need to use the tools that we have, but we should never be confused when we need to understand when businesses are being built on our backs. Don't forget that John Rockefeller built a massive business on other people's backs with something he didn't own. So I just wanted to kind of throw that as a nugget. Technology has shifted. That was a technology boom built on the unbanked's backs. Did you also know, and maybe you don't, did you know that people who make lower income actually pay more taxes? And not just what you hear in the news, but like what truly keeps society running is sales tax, okay? People don't think that, but if so many people get refunds every year, then how could we possibly be making enough tax money to keep all this infrastructure in place? Why would they need a $1 trillion infrastructure bill? I'm not gonna go off on a tangent, but I could. But the point is, sales tax that you pay in the store literally is what helps with infrastructure and roads and all these, I guess, creature comforts that we enjoy, like paved roads. That's important. But the point I'm making, lower, moderate income, middle income people tend to shop more for consumer goods. And so that keeps that system filled with tax money. So if wages are lower and those wages are then being poured back in, it's just the nation is being built and held up on the backs of people who maybe don't have as much. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying understand the system and use whatever things come your way to your advantage. All right. So cryptocurrency. What is cryptocurrency? Cryptocurrency is, it's really, really cool. And the more I have studied this, I just love it. But I also, the other reason why I want to do this is because I know that a lot of the elements of cryptocurrency, especially people my age, again, I'm 50. So people my age, if you haven't been kind of moving in the world the way I have, some of these things may seem a little weird. They may seem fly by night or silly. Like a lot of the cryptocurrencies are named after like anime characters for real. There's a whole thing behind that. A lot of the developers are anonymous. They have pseudonyms. You would never know who they are. Some are business people that you do know who they are, but they're hiding behind synonyms. It's a really synonymous identities, not synonymous, pseudonym. Anyway, you know what I'm trying to say, pseudonyms, that's it. And so some of these elements could be just enough to be like, oh, I'm not doing that. Okay, so that's the other thing. I don't want that to happen. I want people to kind of be able to get past that. So cryptocurrency, there's something called a blockchain. The blockchain was created originally by a person or group of people. It's not even known. This is literally a true fact that I'm about to share with you. An unknown person or group of people named Satoshi. Wait, I wrote it down because I always get the last name wrong. Satoshi Nakamoto. I always want to say Nakamura, but Nakamoto anonymously created this system of all of these computers. I'm oversimplifying it in a real way, in a real massive way. It's really a lot more complicated than this, but it's also really simple. It's like a chain that was created, right? And so it's a public ledger where every single transaction that everyone ever does is open for everybody's view. It's called decentralized finance. So centralized finance would be a bank or a traditional place where you would keep your money. The difference in decentralized finance is you can't see what the bank is doing with your money. They do use your money and they don't give much interest, if any at all, on your money while it's in their bank. But so the idea behind how Bitcoin was created by Satoshi. So Satoshi's idea was this needs to change. So most of these products are community driven, meaning like somebody puts up a Twitter page, they develop their project and then build a community, and that community pushes it forward. Again, that could be a little crazy for people who have had just a really traditional financial life. So the idea was to take the power and put it back in the people's hands. Okay, so cryptocurrency. Crypto, it's the best, if you needed to define it, it would be secret, hidden, protected. It's like, I hate to use the word crypt, but think of a vault, a place where things are kept safe. And then of course we know what currency is. So cryptocurrency, the idea is that it's encrypted, it's protected, and it cannot be altered. So as an example, if you make a purchase of cryptocurrency, it happens on a blockchain. And in that blockchain, you are an anonymous person, you are a contract. That contract follows every activity you do with that token, and nothing about that can ever be manipulated. Every purchase for any currency that you ever buy can never be manipulated. It is always and forever a chunk of information that remains in the blockchain, and the chain just keeps growing and growing and growing and growing until forever. It like never stops. And there's computers all over the world in people's houses. There are people who are Bitcoin miners. I could be one. Anyone here can be a Bitcoin miner or an Ethereum miner. We'll talk about that briefly. There's too many things to go into super detail, but I'm going to do more of these and just kind of start the overview. I'm going to break down into smaller chunks, but there's people mining Bitcoin. Every 10 minutes, another chunk of Bitcoin is created. So as activities take place on the blockchain, there's just more information added. So the most recent thing you can see right now, you can literally, there's a website called, you write this down, etherscan.io. And on etherscan.io, you can look at any cryptocurrency and see what transactions have taken place. Later, not tonight, too much. This one piece right here could be a whole 3-week thing. But as you, hi, welcome into the room. But as you make, as transactions take place, you can use that information that's sitting on the blockchain to help part of your decision-making process when you're thinking about a cryptocurrency to invest in. There's things that you would look at, like, oh my gosh, does one person own most of these coins? Is it safe? Like, if this person decides to sell, does it tank the cryptocurrency all in? Like, there's little things that you can come to, big things actually, that you can come to understand by learning blockchain technology. And really, when I was saying that in my post, I wasn't saying that you have to become a miner or you have to learn how to code in the blockchain, but at least know what you're reading so that when you're researching a coin, you know if it's a good one for you. So cryptocurrency is a form of currency that is traded on the blockchain. So Bitcoin was the original, and then there have been evolutions of the blockchain. There's the Ethereum blockchain, and there's something called the Binance Smart Chain. Again, I'm not going to get too granular, but there are different types of coins. There's some that are called the ERC20, which sits on the Ethereum blockchain. And then there's BSC, which sits on the Binance Smart Chain. Again, that's a brain full of information just by itself. The other thing to know, when I talked about you becoming a contract, so everything on the blockchain is identified by a contract. So let's say you're investing in Bitcoin. That has a contract name. It never changes. It will always and forever be known by that contract. Your investment in that will always and forever be known by that contract. So you can find everything you've done with a coin and everything everybody else can, everything that's ever happened with that coin. So unlike at a bank or an investment firm where somebody else is responsible for managing your money, you actually can watch and see. It can, and the other thing is that information cannot be manipulated. It can never be changed. Once it's there, it cannot be manipulated, changed, edited, nothing. No one has the key to do that anywhere. So after Satoshi created Bitcoin, Satoshi disappeared. Nobody knows where Satoshi is. It was literally given to the world. So let's talk about what that means though. So in 2008, Bitcoin was worth 8 cents, 0.08. Today, let me tell you, I want to give you exact numbers. I know when Bitcoin came out, I was like, I'm not putting my money in that. That's smart. It won't happen twice though. I won't do it 2 times. Okay, let me tell you what it's worth today. Bitcoin, as of right now, is worth $67,824 a share. Please find me any stock anywhere that's worth that. One share, one coin. So if somebody decided they were going to buy 100, 1,000, 50, 25 coins when they were 8 cents, they good. They're real good right now. But some people bought thousands and millions of them. So when you hear people talk about Bitcoin millionaires, it's not a joke. Like it's a real thing. And people are being made millionaires on the daily, every single day. Oh, I got somebody else coming in. So it's just important. Like, I wouldn't take this opportunity because this is the opportunity to get in early. Remember, we talked about the small number of people who are in cryptocurrency. So this is the time. Oh, I want to be clear. Let me do my radio voice, my made up radio voice. This is not financial advice. So please make sure you do your own research. Okay, we're back. All right, now I just want to be clear that any decisions you make, I'm not telling you what to do or what not to do. I would just say, I'll just let you know, I'm deeply invested in several coins, and I'm not going to pretend that I'm not. I am. And I have definitely seen the benefits of having made those decisions to do that. Okay, so the blockchain has evolved. As I said, there's something called Ethereum and there's something called Binance. Again, we'll have to go deeper into that. How do you buy cryptocurrency? This is, I think, what everybody wants to know. So first you find a currency that you like. I've shared some with my friends, a lot and more are coming. But again, it's important that we don't give financial advice. But I mean, Nisa, can you unmute for a second? Oh, and yes. Is Cheryl still here? Ricard?
Yes, Cheryl is still here.
So I've shared both of y'all some of my results and shown them to you. Am I making it up? Like, have I made some teeny tiny investments that have made massive yields?
Yeah, yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
but yeah, 10, 15 times at least.
One of them is 115 times. One of them I invested $200 into, and it has multiplied. As of right now, it's still sitting at 115 times my original investment. Y'all can do that math. That's just one of them. I probably have like, well, I made a list in SOTA. I made a list of all my holdings. I changed them a lot though, so it may have changed a little. Um, but like I said, fortune favors the brave, right? Like, what's $200? There are young people, way, like my daughter's age. I have a 22-year-old daughter who invested $17 into a cryptocurrency that we hold called Shiba Inu and made $1 million like that. It doesn't take any effort. The biggest effort is in the research. So let's talk about how you do that. So when you're buying a cryptocurrency, you choose one that you're interested in and you do what's basically due diligence. You really will need Twitter for this because again, this is not your standard investing. So you find a lot of these companies and their community and their information on Twitter. And you get to understand the personality of the company. You can see how they tweet. You can just kind of see what's going on by being there. But then it'll take you to the legitimate link to their website. That's important because there are a lot, it's like the wild, wild west for real, y'all. Like you really do have to make sure that you're looking at the right company, the right contracts, the right information. Every one of those companies will have multiple social accounts. They'll have a Telegram, they'll have YouTube. I mean, they'll have everything. The one thing they won't use is WhatsApp. It's a lot of fraud that happens there. So you want to stay away from any kind of WhatsApp investing opportunity. Just skip that altogether. So you'll look at those things. Again, I'm going to have a YouTube channel where I continue to share information. So I will share information about coins, but again, it will not be investing advice. Okay. All right. Anyway, so the YouTube channels, there's a lot of amazing influencers who are, again, everybody's new to the space. So you have to kind of be discerning to know the difference between like a circus performer and an actual serious person who's just maybe not perfect with the information, but doing their best to give ideas and insights on coins to look into. So once you research your coin, the other thing you want to do is every project will have a white paper that explains what they're about, what their goals are, what their timeline of achievements are. You can read those things. It's an open book, it's public information, and it helps you to determine if it really is right for you. And again, we can do all of this together. We can talk projects over. I look at a ton of info before I actually, okay, let me tell the whole truth. So I look at a ton of information, but I usually will have like already thrown some money in there just to be careful, like just to like, I ain't trying to miss it. And if I don't put too much at first, then, I don't feel so bad. But once I'm 100% comfortable, then I'll just load it because I've learned that it actually is a smart place to invest. Anyway, the other thing is every coin will have something called tokenomics. So tokenomics explains any token benefits, anything that the use case for the coin will be made clear. And then through that use case, like when coins are purchased, when they're burned, when they're sold, how do you benefit? It'll talk about any protections. I've talked to Nisa a lot about whales. I will touch on that because it hurt my feelings when I started to understand how people are manipulated in investments. So retail investors are you, me, and everybody else that's in this room. But some really high value, high investment entities are considered whales because they're investing trillions of dollars, billions of dollars all at one time in chunks. Well, when a whale decides that they want to jump in the water with the retail investors, what happens when a whale jumps in the water? Everything gets all knocked out of whack. So when you see a coin go down, that's usually when you see retail investors start running for the hills. Oh, let me get my last $20 out. They don't know that they're actually being smoked out by the whales. They do it intentionally to make people sell. So the coin will go down and then they come load up the wagons, drive the price back up. And then retail, I don't do this, but retail investors go running back when the price is up and buy it at a high price and keep pushing it up for the whales. We're not going to do that. We're going to invest what we can afford to invest so that we don't freak out when little changes happen. Because in cryptocurrency, there is a lot of volatility.
Hey, Nicole.
Huh?
Where did council wants to know where you find the white paper?
So you always find the white paper on their website. Oh, thank you, Nisa. Because I'm not doing all of it. Oh, and so just so you know, Keonta, I've told everyone, please feel free to reach out directly to me. Like, I'm happy to answer questions. I know that I'm not fast to answer questions, but I have 37 children. So not really 4, but still, it's a lot going on here. But this is important to me. I am actually like embedding this into the next leg of my career. So I will be available. I will be present on YouTube, I've been present on Twitter for years, but this is going to be, I hope to be a resource for you guys. And I'm offering myself as a resource. Anyway, so whales jump in, they destroy everybody's finances. And guess what happens? Some of those retail investors never go back and invest. And those very wealthy investors just got wealthier on the backs of regular everyday people. And it happens constantly, like literally sometimes more than once a week. So if you're looking, and I look all day, every day, but at this point, I'm not even worried about if it goes down. As long as I know I'm in a solid project, I'm not concerned about the dip. In fact, we have to do what the whales do, buy the dip. Oh, you want to drive the price down? Good, you made it more affordable for me. I'm going to buy a few more, load up as much as you can. So as much as you can, learn from their behavior. Anyway, so we'll talk more about that in other broadcasts. I'm trying to wrap this up. There's a lot of resources to help you know which exchanges to use. The reason why I wanted everybody to register is because I wanted to be able to seamlessly send you all the links to the exchanges that I use. So I am going to send you that. You'll have that within 48 hours. It'll be, there's several. If you want to find out the top 5 cryptocurrency exchanges, write this website down. You're going to go to coinmarketcap.com. On there, you'll see cryptocurrencies as a link. You'll see exchanges. You can click on exchanges, and those are the places where you can buy, trade, and sell cryptocurrency. But we're not selling, we're only buying. And we're holding. Of course, like I have one crypto that, pays like a lot of my bills, like all of them actually, pays my mortgage. You can do that. So you have to decide like how much, you can have like different wallets, different bags in different places. And based on how they yield, you can use them. Okay. All right. So coinmarketcap.com, Coinbase, crypto.com, excuse me, KuCoin, Binance. If you're in Texas, you can't use Binance yet. Okay. So those are like just some kind of things. Again, you'll get an email that's going to help kind of tidy these things up so you'll know exactly where to look. And Keonta, I don't know if you heard this, but when you go to their website, it's extremely important that you check that you have the legitimate website for a coin, because a lot of them literally are made by, they look like anime. They look like stuff your kids, but high quality, like some really smart people out there. But they don't look like JP Morgan Chase, not even a little bit. They literally look like cartoons. And we'll talk about NFTs in a minute because those are cartoons. Okay, the other thing you want to be concerned about is security. So when you invest, you buy it and you can sell it on the exchange, but you don't want to leave it on the exchange, because Wild Wild West, I'm not making it up, it's really the Wild Wild West. You see all kinds of sad stories all the time where people had invested a small amount, got it up to $60 million. I know there's a man who invested $1,800 in Shiba Inu when it first started, and he made $60 million. Like a moment of silence. He was a mailman, y'all. He ain't no mailman no more at all. They call him Crypto Messiah now, which is pretty funny. But you wouldn't want to wake up and see your money not there. So you want to keep it in a wallet. And I'll tell you, I wouldn't use, so the exchanges offer wallets, and I've used them like as I've, been getting comfortable with this process, but I wanted to show y'all, I ordered a cold storage wallet. And I'm going to explain all of these things in greater detail. In fact, as y'all take notes, if there's things you want me to talk about more, like if you have a specific part of this that you want to hear me kind of drill down deeper, please let me know. Okay, so a cold storage wallet is a place where you can safely put all of your crypto in one place. I use Ledger Nano X. Can y'all see that? Let me know if you can see it, please. Can you see it? I guess y'all can see it. I can't hear nobody. So anyway, Ledger Nano S. I'll put that in the website. Okay, I see thumbs. Okay, great. Thank you. So it's a cryptocurrency hardware wallet. This is nowhere on any computer anywhere. It doesn't like anything that I have on this can nobody find. If I lose it, I can't find it either. It's not recoverable. So it's very important that you keep your own security secure. So there's a second part of y'all. This is actually real serious business here. Like we're talking about real money. And so again, please just don't let this be a time where you're like, well, that was interesting. All right, well,
I have a quick question about the hardwire. Mm-hmm. When you put it on there, does it still trade? Like, is it still considered on the market?
It's not on the market. When you put it in a wallet, this particular company has a live version. So with the wallet, you have a Ledger Live, but it's the same level of security as the cold wallet. So this will go in my safe in my closet, and I'll still have access to my crypto to move it around. Because I do, like, some people swing trade crypto. I don't, but like I said, there's one where I supplement my expenses from. So I wouldn't want to use a Ledger where I couldn't do that. But again, I'm just migrating my crypto over. So Christina, as I'm doing that, anybody who orders a Ledger Nano, we can learn that part together, and we can kind of troubleshoot together. I'm happy to participate in that because it would be nice to have people to talk to while I'm doing this. It would be like really nice because it gets a little. Did y'all ever see that movie with Tom Hanks was stuck on that island and he was all by himself and he was talking to the soccer ball? I feel like I'm talking to the soccer ball sometimes. So I'll be happy to talk to people. Well, of course I have Nisa, but I'm sure, she got other stuff to talk about besides this. Anyway, Nisa's my soccer ball. Hey girl. Okay. So Nano X and S rather. And then this, I haven't even opened this yet. So this, you see this? This is, hopefully it'll be simple, but so this is a capsule and it's made of titanium. It's fireproof, weatherproof, waterproof. This is where you keep your seed phrases in. I'm going to explain seed phrases. So seed phrases are unique to your wallet on any exchange that you use. And if you don't know your seed phrase and you get locked out of your wallet, you're not getting into your wallet, like you won't. You'll see stories, people who invested money years ago, forgot about the wallet, and then realized they had $1 billion in there, but can't get it because they forgot their seed phrase. So your seed phrase is generated when you create a wallet. You don't want to, although I can't pretend that I haven't made this mistake because I've, again, impatient, but you're not supposed to screenshot them. You're not supposed to take a picture of them. You should assume that anything that's on a, anything that is on a computer or a cloud is at risk. You should make that assumption. So this little thing here, y'all, this is like, look at all this. Can y'all see that? It's crazy. It's wild, but it's that important. So this little capsule, you write your seed phrase and you put it in here and you put it where no one can find it, but yourself. And so flood, fire, whatever, you know that this is an indestructible device. I know it seems like a lot, but it's really important. Like I said, these kinds of things would not have a market if people were not making obscene, life-changing amounts of money, because it is actually the case. It's not multi-level marketing. It's not nothing goofy. It's just literally like, decide what you're gonna do and do it. Okay, all right, so we'll talk more about ledgers and wallets. Again, I'll answer any questions. There's other ledgers. This one I have some specific like influencers that I've been listening to and learning from. And there's kind of a consensus amongst them that this is the one that they all use. So I just went with this one, but there are other ones.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Where do you purchase those from?
You can only buy it from Ledger, and I'll send a link for that as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So that's important too. Don't trust resell it on anything. Like, it's so crazy. Like, you really can't, if you can't go to the source for a coin or a device, then you don't want it because it's likely compromised. Okay, and remember, this space is filled with extremely intelligent renegades as well. Like, extremely intelligent. Some of the most brilliant minds are in cryptocurrency. So you don't want to, anyway, you get the point. All right, so we got the wallet discussed. And then I just wanted to talk about this last little thing there about the channels where people make money in crypto. So it's not just investing. I briefly touched on mining. Like, you can buy nodes and actually set up mining equipment from your own. Like, I have a couple of Macs. Here's one of them. They look exactly the same. One of them is my son's that he uses to make music, but you can literally mine. You can do it on your phone. There's hacks for that. Again, that's a little bit higher level, but it's not difficult and it's not out of anybody's reach who's here. Anybody here can do these things. Anyone. Okay, so mining. There's something else called staking. This is so cool. So you can buy crypto and then stake it, earn high interest on it, and then use it as income. So you can choose a time frame that it'll be staked, meaning you lock it up so that it can't be, you basically lock it from yourself and you turn it into a method of generating income. So when you hear people saying, oh, I'm just living on my interest, that's basically the same thing. So just to give an example.
Invested on a 401k.
Say that one more time.
So it's kind of like waiting on your 401k to be vested to match it.
Yeah, kind of. The only thing is that yes, it's exactly that concept. The difference is that the rate of return, like some of the staking reward, oh my goodness, like some of the staking rewards, the interest can be in the hundreds%. Hundreds. And I don't know because this one staking platform I use loads really slow, but I'll try to open it while I'm talking to y'all. I think the rate of return on one of them is like 130 something percent. And they go higher, 300 and something percent. But some are 3 or 5, but it's still better than less than 1% that you get at your bank. And how many, like I'm about to say it, how many can testify that you can go to the bank and they'll be like, and we offer 0.002% interest on your checking account. We have an interest-bearing checking here. That is not a gift. That's not anything, because guess what they actually do with our money? They actually go out and borrow money on our money and earn more money than they would ever pay us. That is literally a smattering of a tiny shaving of what they're earning on our money. But I digress. I don't really digress. I'm just not gonna keep y'all here all night long. But I'll just wear Nisa out with it. But she knows, she actually has spent time in investing, and she can talk about that whenever she wants to. Okay, so staking and then NFTs. So all my Christian friends who thought there was a whole thing with Mark Zuckerberg, I just want to be really clear. When he changed the name to Metaverse, he was actually like 22 light years ahead of anybody that was paying attention to anything he did in a press release. Facebook has been in the Metaverse for years. They own a company called Oculus. If any of you have bought your kids virtual reality games, if any of you have the Oculus glasses, you bought it from Facebook because that's who owns the company. Okay. There's a whole world, Minecraft, where your kids sit, my son does it, and now he's got my baby daughter doing it. But they go and build out whole areas in this imaginary space. It's not just a game. There's literally a world that exists in the metaverse that people are walking around in and doing business. And I don't know, I know that some of you guys are in SOTA. Y'all probably heard when Apostle did that thing, the lesson, I think it was like 3 lessons ago, where he talked about apostles taking territory and scoping out territory, and that we need to be conscious of places where the world is taking territory and also do the same. And so the metaverse is one of those places. It literally is. It's popular, y'all. There are Metaverse real estate agencies. If you don't believe me, please Google that while we're here. Just Google metaverse real estate agency. It's going to pop up and look like a real agency, and they're going to give you a whole spiel like a normal real estate agency talks about buying land. I own stock in a company called Decentraland and another one called Sandbox. And recently Nisa started investing in that one. I don't think I got to talk to Cheryl about that one, but we'll talk about that too, Cheryl. So in Decentraland, you can buy a plot of land in the metaverse. I would suggest doing so. But again, it's not financial advice. Okay, all right. Do it at your own risk and do your own research. But understand that the man who made all those bajillions of dollars on Facebook really wasn't scared of a little controversy, guys. Like he just wasn't. Like he isn't scared of that. He changed the name of the business to meet the company where it's been staking a claim for years. He's just catching up. Did you notice in the press releases that in the days to follow, Nike announced their metaverse? There's been multiple announcements. This is not something to allow to happen like the oil boom or the gold rush, because it is happening, and it will either include you or it won't. I bought a domain 3 weeks ago, nftshirts.io, because just in case I decide to print shirts and sell them for virtual reality characters, I'm gonna own that, just in case. Did you know if you have kids who have ever bought clothes for their Roblox, skins for their Fortnite, or clothing for their Minecraft characters? If you go on Google, here's another thing to Google. Google Roblox clothing templates. They actually sell patterns like you would find a pattern at the fabric store. They sell digital patterns to make digital clothes to sell for digital toys. And I haven't bought these, but you know how many birthday parties my kids have been invited to where somebody said, oh, just get her a Roblox gift card so she could buy some of those clothes that somebody else already figured out to sell. There's another company with a horribly evil name called Ouroboros, but they have that name because they make clothing for characters for a game called Ouroboros. It's two women who decided, you know what, there's a market there. I'm gonna sell clothes for them. There are human beings who buy virtual clothing for Zoom calls. You know, if you've ever chosen the virtual background, you sat in the metaverse during your Zoom. That's a thing. All those virtual backgrounds where it looks like you're in a city in Tuscany, or a town in Tuscany, or in some loft or something, that's built in the metaverse. It's not like you've not touched it. But do we want to consume it, or do we want to invest in it? And or do we want to own a piece of it? I say, let's do all of the above, right? We want to know what technology is happening, what's happening in technology. We want to know, we want to be owners, and we don't want to be left out. We don't want to be dinosaurs. That's not where it's at. Dinosaurs are at the bottom of the La Brea tar pit and in museums and places where they can't do anything but be an oddity to look at, an outdated thing. So we don't want to be that. So staking, NFTs, mining, investing, of course, income, real estate. Did anybody Google the real estate thing while we were here? Nobody did, y'all. Just do it. It's gonna.
I did.
Okay, good, because it's really worth seeing that they have a whole real estate agency, and you can literally go like you're going to make a purchase down the street. So, I think I probably want to start to wrap here and start taking any questions that y'all have, because again, we could go on and on and on. I'm going to keep giving y'all information. I've launched a YouTube channel. I'm going to upload this video as sort of like a reference, and I'm just going to keep building on the things that we have. I see hands up. Okay. So, Susan, since it's so late where you are, please go right ahead with your question.
No, actually, I raised up the hand to say that I Googled on metaverse properties. That's all.
So isn't that wild though? Did you see that? Like how, like people have, this is being taken real seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a game. Like people are going to make millions of dollars. And imagine if it costs $5,000 to have a plot of land in the metaverse now while it's young. Remember, Bitcoin went from 8 cents to $67,000. How much will it cost? I have a coin. Well, I mean, all of my coins that I have went from 0.000000000000001 to 0.000 or 0.00. You know, like you drop a bunch of zeros and you make good money. Not saying that I've made a bunch of money, Mr. IRS person, but anyway. Okay, and then Cheryl White, I see your hand up.
Okay, so I went on Coinbase and, you know, I've added my bank account information, all that, right? Is there certain times that you can buy, or is it just like a 24-hour, 7 days a week type thing?
Wild, wild west. It's not like with the regular traditional market, you can buy all night long. And so on Coinbase, something to be aware of, you can buy in that marketplace, but you'll notice if you look on the app at the bottom, you'll see a little wallet, like a billfold. Until you have your cold storage wallet, make sure you store it in a wallet. The thing is, when you trade from your wallet, you have to have, it's a little bit complicated. You have to have Ethereum. So you always want to keep a little Ethereum in your wallet in case you want to move money around, because there's some to move around on the blockchain. In these, some of the coins are not on traditional exchanges yet, but there's some of the best ones. So we can talk more about that, but you just have to make sure you have a little Ethereum. You can just buy a couple $100 and always have it handy.
So for the Shiba Inu, which app do you use for that?
I use crypto.com and I use Shiba Swap. They have their own exchange, but I stake on Shiba Swap, and I use the one that I use like for expenses and stuff like that I want to liquidate. Is the easiest place I've found to liquidate it is on crypto.com. I do not recommend that, but I want to be clear. It's the only one that I manage that way. I have everything else locked up. But I have a big chunk of it locked away, like over 50, like 70 million coins locked away. And then I keep a rotation of about like 30 to 70 additional million coins that I just cycle in and out.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll talk more. Okay.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Excuse me.
Uh-huh.
I had a question. Okay, about the NFT. Was that referring to like the metaverse things?
Yeah, so the NFTs are artwork, they're spaces. I mean, the metaverse consists of spaces. So maybe in the metaverse, you might find an art gallery that houses NFTs. That has so many layers, like, oh, so many layers. There's NFTs, there's a place where you can buy NFTs. It's still possible to accidentally buy the wrong thing and throw your money away. Like, you have to be very careful. Again, that's why I wanted to make sure I become helpful, because I don't want that to happen. But there's a place called OpenSea and Rarible. Those are good places to buy NFTs. But before you buy an NFT, you really want to understand the company and make sure you have the right NFT, because there's a lot of copies. Crypto.com, don't assume that if it's on a traditional exchange that it's automatically a safer investment. That's not necessarily the case, because they don't, just like I keep saying, this is not financial advice. That's how they feel too. And they don't have anything to lose if you choose poorly, because we do have to research, but I'm happy to help research any project. Shoot, we might all find something great. Yes.
I'm sorry, and that means mining, because you said mining and stocking, right? So
mining is different. Mining is a whole completely different process. NFTs are something that you can either create or purchase. I think the youngest NFT artist I've seen is like 4 years old. She's making millions of dollars. Her name is Empress. She's a little beautiful brown girl, and she is making NFT art and selling it, y'all. Like, for real. Children are making NFTs and selling them on OpenSea. There are little tiny children who are making millions of dollars. I'm not exaggerating. I promise you. Okay. So no, it's a different thing. Mining is something else. You need nodes for that. We can talk about that too. And I will do a YouTube just on that.
Okay, thank you. I'm taking notes, so I'm making sure I got the right parts. Thank you.
And please reach out to me. I'm happy to answer whatever questions I can. If I don't, I'm going to go find somebody who has the answer.
I appreciate it.
No problem. Okay, Kimberly.
Yes, hi, good evening. Did you say you have a YouTube channel that you're placing this this video on, this Zoom on? I'm sorry, I don't
I'm launching it specifically for this purpose. So this will be up in a few days. The email I'm going to send you guys will have that link. It'll have all of my social links. If you found me on Facebook, that's an easy way to find me. But that was the reason why I had everybody register, so that anybody who wanted to continue to receive information could. And so I will make sure that you have that YouTube address and everything. It'll be under my name, Nicole Murray. Right now, you won't find the content yet, but it'll be up in a few days, less than 48 hours.
Okay, great, thank you.
You're welcome. Clayton, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. Okay, so I just have a question. So I know you say, you need to do your research when it comes to buying a coin. What are you supposed to be looking for?
The truth, the truth, Ruth. So use case, right? So you don't want to invest really probably in anything that doesn't have any actual usefulness. So you want to see, like, the whole idea of the blockchain and cryptocurrency is to create community-driven wealth. So is it something, in fact, let me put it this way. When Satoshi Nakamoto made the blockchain, the Bitcoin blockchain, the actual stated reason was so that people could make purchases without a middleman, like PayPal or the MasterCards and the, all the different banks. So they could literally, me and you could make an exchange if you have a business on the blockchain. Okay, so having said that, you're looking for companies that actually have a usefulness. So like an example would be one of the coins I have like 230 something billion coins in. That sounds so crazy, but when they pop, y'all not gonna see me no more. Anyway, that's part of me at a moment. Okay, but you can still actually buy a lot of that coin, but they have several use cases. They are implemented medical billing. It's an amazing thing to put medical billing on the crypto in the crypto sphere, because it needs to be encrypted. We have HIPAA laws, we have reasons why these things should be private. They are revolutionizing that technology. That's massive. Another thing that they have is they have something called SataMask, where they're making it so that you can buy these tokens that haven't quite made it to an exchange, but are good investment opportunities. You can buy them just by paying for them, as opposed to having to buy Ethereum, like I was starting to explain to Cheryl. Again, that's a lot of layers to that conversation, but ultimately it can be expensive to buy crypto. So like, say I wanted to make a $500 trade, it might cost me $200 depending on the time of day. So I'll buy my $500 worth of tokens, but I may have to pay a fee of $200. Sometimes it's cheaper, sometimes it's 50, 70, it just can vary. There's actually ways to kind of be able to time that. So you're researching usefulness and value, because ultimately it has to have something that keeps it alive. Otherwise, it's basically just gambling, and we don't want to do that. You really want to invest in things that are revolutionizing the way we do business and the way we exchange money. So, but again, I'll talk more about that. Like, the white paper is a good place to start. It's horribly boring sometimes to read them. Oh, and I'm glad you popped up, Keonta, because you're a big researcher, and I think you can explain probably pretty succinctly why it's important to read white papers and why it's important to like take the time, because you find out a lot about the personality of a company or a project when you do, and it really will help you make smart decisions. Do you want to add something to that?
Yeah, just that the great thing about white papers is that it's supposed to be a short synopsis, and it's supposed to be written for a layperson. So I always say that I don't trust people who can't take all of their brilliance and distill it down into simple terms. Like, if you can't explain to me why this matters and I'm not a tech person, then to me, you're not the person that I want to invest in, or your company's not. Right. So the smartest people are those who actually can distill it down. And so white papers is usually a way that's supposed to be simple, digestible. And so you can also use that as some of your criteria as you're going through, that if it's just a bunch of like super technical words, super, like dense and hard to read, then me personally, even as a researcher in my field, I don't trust that, because it means you might not really know what you're doing. You're just using a bunch of words because I don't know the content.
The other thing too, a white paper is supposed to be a document that we can respect, right? Because we know when you read that word, white paper, those two words, it's a research document that's been vetted. So in this space, it is the wild, wild west. So just because someone has commandeered the term white paper doesn't mean it's a vetted document that's been audited. So you want to deal with companies that have had some measure of audit. Some haven't though. Look, let me be fully transparent. I have investments in some that literally like just rolled out the bed the other day and had a fantastic idea, but it's actually a fantastic idea. Sometimes you may take risks. I have, but they've rewarded me. There's still a level of due diligence that you can do. For the most part, as you start, you really ought to make as safe of a risky bet on yourself as you can. But it is going to involve doing some things that aren't comfortable, probably. We're always like, culturally speaking, we're taught to save, put some money up. This is like, throw it all in the cryptocurrency and watch it spin. So, that's different. But it's actually, if you do your research, if you do read the white papers, if they don't sound crazy or highly technical to where you cannot understand it, then you probably could give it a try. But remember, there's going to be a ton of you're not alone. Hundreds of thousands of people, like that when I called that I just talked about, Saitama, when I invested, there was like 4,000 people, and that was on August 1st. There's like 190,000 people now. So there's certain things that you can you'll get accustomed to with some of these tokens. But then there was another one, somebody released a coin called Squid Game token. And it turned out to be a rug pull. So people go by name recognition, don't do due diligence. They get excited because it is it's popular culture right now, the whole concept of Squid Games, which is creepy, but whatever. It's the world we currently live in is a nasty, bloody, gory place right now that loves gore. However, there's a token that came, they ran that token up, and the development team took the rug from under the people, and whoever invested lost every single dime in literally a split second. And they will never recover that money. But don't make impulsive emotional investments. I mean, that's really
Huh? Would you say part of the research would be also when you're looking at utility, cross-referencing what's going on in society to make sure, like if you say something is going to help with paying for medical bills and things like that, and you're going to be able to put them in a database that makes it more HIPAA compliant than anything else, then when you once you compare that against what's happening in society, what we need, what's going on, that there's an actual, you can follow the news to say, okay, this is what's going on. So it makes sense that they would put it there. Like there was one that I saw that said something about travel, NFT and travel. So it was, and they were also building a portfolio where they were increasing the utility. So it started in one place. This is our overall goal, but you can see where they're getting agreements to be able to use the coins in different parts or segments of that particular industry.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times the news, but remember the whales, so that's the only thing. News is helpful, but it's all got to be like a holistic approach. So it's like white paper, news, what's the team? Who is the team? Some of the coins, you'll never know who the team is. But let me tell you something. In some cases, that's okay, because Wild Wild West, some of these people don't want people to know who they are for their own safety. Doesn't mean that they're not a good coin. It just means that maybe it's not wise, depending on what they're working on. So I can't say that there's a perfect rhyme or reason. There are tools out there that you can use. The news is one. General information, get to know the community, see how they're talking. Do they update you? Like, is there real fresh information that comes out? Are they keeping to their timeline? Is the timeline that they've created even realistic? Are they saying in 1 week we will have 200,000 holders, in 3 weeks we will have 6 zillion? Well, that's not realistic. I mean, we don't even have, it's not even like, I don't even think it's 1 billion people in crypto right now. So you know, just have to kind of look at what they're saying they're going to accomplish and if that's even a thing. So.
Hey, Nicole.
Yeah.
What do you think about that guy, The Rundown, who's doing on Clubhouse? He's been doing a lot of like crypto advice and sharing different, like, do you know him and what do you think?
I haven't heard of him, but you know what I would say? That's why I'm moving into this space. I am grateful for the few people that I have stumbled upon who I have felt have been honest in their assessments of different tokens, because sometimes after I've done research, again, I am the type that'll be like, oh, that sounds cool. Let me just jump in there. And then I'll be like, let me go find out what I just did. I've found some people that I feel pretty comfortable. Like if I go listen to all 5 of them, I feel like, okay, I got a consensus. So I don't know him, but I'm grateful for the people that I have found. And that's why I want to be one of those people. There aren't enough of them. There are a lot of Wild Wild West, Lone Ranger, crazy, Wild Bill Hickok type folks that literally are just like, shoot them up, taking people's money. There are. But I would say even with that, it is worth it to do the due diligence and do the research and find good coins that you can invest in. Well worth it. Don't forget, one of my coins did 115 times what my investment was. I don't even know how to act. I feel so brand new about that. And I mean, like, it's not going to change my life, that money, but it is, I mean, it's only going to go up. That's the one, Saitama. It's still a lot of money. Like, it's a lot of money, but I've locked it. So I'm not like taking it out or anything. And we can talk about things like taxing this money as we go along. Like just thoughts that you guys have, definitely like tell me so that I can specifically focus on those things. As you may not think of them tonight, I don't expect you to, but if you have things that concern you, of course, taxes concern me already with my income. You know, I don't want to, I don't want to pay a lot of taxes in Jesus' name, but I'm gonna pay whatever I'm supposed to. I do know that if you don't liquidate it, you're not paying taxes yet. That much I know, but I have definitely liquidated some. I ain't ashamed either, because you know we live, huh?
I was saying this past year when we did, when my accountant did my taxes, he asked me if I purchased any crypto and said the government now wants to track even the purchase of the crypto.
Yeah. So the great thing though is this particular, the altcoins, what people call meme coins, the more, this is completely unregulated. They don't have any kind of nothing in place. You do need to be honest about earnings because that's the law, right? And we honor the law of the land we live in no matter what. Having said that, this is a really good time because it is not regulated. Stable coins are moving into a tightly regulated space, but some of the state like Tether, it's not really that great of a coin, but it's a stable coin that people use every day, but it needs to be regulated. Again, this is not financial advice. However, I would say this, as you move into the space, you can buy fractional shares of these really high value coins. I would say, not saying you should do your own research, but I buy Bitcoin and Ethereum. My 13-year-old daughter does have Cash App. She has to have an auto draft of Bitcoin every week, has to, that's a mandate in my house. My 22-year-old daughter has to have it. And then I have crypto in for all of them. So some of my wallets that I have that are not in, you know, that I don't actually use, they're for my kids. The ones who aren't old enough to have their own wallets. This is, I mean, like they can actually afford to hold money for long term. What they got? We pay all the bills. So Clayton, is Clayton still with us? I don't know if she left.
Yes, I'm here.
Something you can do that's really, it's so groundbreaking. You can take, you can set up to where you can accept cryptocurrencies in your business. So yes, there's a rate of exchange. They actually, you can spend them just like you can $1. But they're, yes. And what happens in that situation is you build your bags through your business. So I mean, we need money, right? But that's money. And I mean, again, we don't have all night for me to go into, and I'm sure Nisa, Keonta, I don't know who all else follows these spaces, but you know, the dollar has taken a real beating this past year. We needed these things to be in place. There's a lot of terribly, you know, terrible disparities financially, we've already covered. Y'all, we have kids in this country who are starving. Like, really. We need to be able to help everywhere we can and do as much as we can in society. And I mean, I try to. I do. I tell these all the time, I just like to give like a drunk sailor. But you have to have it to give it. And yeah, I mean that we need to figure out a way past all fears and all trepidation and do things that are revolutionary. So I definitely encourage you, if any of your business owners, look into accepting Bitcoin and Ethereum. No, well, not Ethereum, but Bitcoin, Shiba Inu, Saitama. These are currencies. They are actual money, like real money that people accept for payment. People buy houses with Shiba Inu. Not changing it to $1. They literally say, okay, I'm going to just transfer this number of coins for the purchase. And I can talk more to you about that as well, Clayton. Oh, and Caitlin Manning, you too, Miss Beauty Industry, same thing. I don't know if she's still on. I see her name, but same thing. You can accept those cryptocurrencies, and that's a way to build your bags. You have a lot long. Me at 50. Obviously, I don't have as many years to hold. I don't want to go like somewhere and be working till I'm 90 years old. I literally am not going to. However, the point is, y'all have a lot of time to build and hold bags. And I hope you do. I hope you do. Y'all are both very, very young. I don't know who else is, but they're in their like early 20s. So that's just food for thought. Anybody want to talk about entrepreneurship and how to implement that I would love to have those conversations. All right, so any other questions for this session? No. Okay. And does this time work for you guys, or that's something else too? If it doesn't, it does, Sister Edwina. Okay, good. But if there's any differing thoughts on that, if this isn't a good time, I do have a house full of kids. I really don't know how we made it this long without the little one coming in here like telling me what to do, but God is good. Okay, good. I'm seeing thumbs up. But if you do have time suggestions or anything, let me know. And I will do my best to make myself available at times that work for everyone. So.
I think this was a God ordained moment because, I got 6 kids too. And I haven't been bothered once either. So this is wonderful.
Oh, good. That is really amazing. Because how old are your kids?
My oldest is 18, have a 12-year and 6-year-old twins.
Oh, wow. Yep. I have my baby is 6. That one right there. Like, I literally always am looking over my shoulder, like, is she coming?
I swear. Ooh.
That's the dangerous one.
Yes. And my twins, they were together, trouble.
Well, it's been a pleasure, guys. I love you all so much. I'm so glad you're here.
I just wanted to add that to kind of support your statement that it's currency, that there's a coin that I bought into, Jasmine, that is actual currency of Japan. Like if you went to Japan, you could literally use it to like buy your food. So it's like a real new world.
Yes, it is. I'm glad you brought that up. I should have done so. So there are countries that are adopting cryptocurrency as its official currency. There's countries in South America that have Bitcoin as their official currency. The Gambia has SafeMoon as its official. There are many. So again, let's not let this gap be a real gap. Right now, there's, people know, and there's a gap, but it's not the kind that can't be recovered because there's not enough adoption yet in society. You can win, like you can literally win in this space and win crazy well. So, and also like coins that I'm researching and investing in, I will share with you a list of the coins that I have bags in, and I'll point you to the resources so you can invest in them. I did make a long list in SOTA. I've added some. I've sold one of those since then because I didn't like it that much. But I'll share those things too. And if any of y'all haven't seen that list, I'll include that in the email. Again, this is not financial advice. And every time I say it, I'm going to use that voice because it seems fun. Okay. So but I'll share with you what I learned about them. If you have coins that you run across and you want to talk through, we'll just do that. We may not get it right though every time. So you don't want to like bet the farm. Maybe, you know, if it's a really early coin that's got a ton of zeros after the decimal, like if it's 0.1006, you probably can put $100 in. And if it's a good one, you're gonna do really well. But those are gonna be the scariest ones. It'll be the scariest ones. But you know, the ones that I've had that have paid me really well were the scariest ones. So, and now my friends are in some of them. So I wouldn't, these people pray with me and pray for my family. I would not tell them about something that would have them mad at me. So I'll do the same. And I hope y'all will with me too. Like if you run across a gem, like what Christina was just talking about, please, like as we go, like let's like form a tribe. Like we are one, like we are one. So let's do this as a crew. And more guys, we're gonna have more people that fold in and do so as believers and apostles and prophets and people who literally are real change makers, the real kind of change makers, kingdom shifters, you know? So, all right, that's all I have. So thank you very much. I love you. If y'all don't have anything else, I'll let you go and be harassed by your children, and or those who don't have children, go luxuriate in your quiet homes. All right, guys. Have a great night.
Thank you. Love you.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you.
Love you.
Thank you so much.
Really appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much, Nicole.
Miss Nicole. Bye. Bye, baby.
Bye.
Where's the little thing?